You are listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm your host. Here you will find episodes on all the Vedic teachings like yoga, Ayurveda and Vedic astrology. For more information about me and my offerings, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you're in Germany, sandrahayes.de. Hello again and welcome to another episode on the nakshatras. And I hope you have been listening to the previous episodes on the nakshatras, or if you haven't, and if you don't know what nakshatras are, then please do go back to listen to the introduction of this particular series of episodes. And today I want to talk to you about a wonderful nakshatra called Pushya Nakshatra. Pushya Nakshatra is all about nourishment and Dharma and about sacred support that we get and also that we give in life. So when the moon enters Pushya Nakshatra, then the whole atmosphere shifts into an atmosphere of grounding and strength and gentleness as well. And Pushya is often translated as the Nourisher because it does carry the quality of being fed or also feeding others. It simply supports life and it protects Dharma, the natural laws, and the natural cycles as well, and everything that we have to follow. We don't have a choice, but we have to follow the cycles of nature, the laws of nature. And nature, if we follow its laws, it will feed us and sustain us. It supports life. And it protects Dharma as well, and it offers nourishment that isn't only physical, but also spiritual and emotional. So it offers a holistic nourishment to all the states of our being, all the levels of our being. And this is a really deeply sattvic star. It's a very, very wonderful, auspicious nakshatra, and it's actually one of the most auspicious and stable of all of the 27 nakshatras. It holds the calm and the reliability of someone who is devoted to service, but without the ego mind, and someone who gives out of their pure heart without wanting attention for it or payment for it or anything, and who grows steadily over time. So actually this is a nakshatra that is well aligned with the nourishing energies of the mother or Mother Earth. And this is maybe also why the symbol for it is a cow's udder, the cow's udder that is full of milk and will give milk that to sustain us. And let's explore a little bit the astrological qualities of Pushya Nakshatra, the deity, the mythology about it, the symbols, and the deeper themes of Pushya Nakshatra, and how to recognize and how to work with this energy in your inner life, your psyche, and also your outward path in life. So you'll find this nakshatra in Cancer. It's completely immersed in the watery sign of Cancer. It starts at 3 degrees 20 minutes and ends at 16 degrees 40 minutes in Cancer. And its ruling deity is Brihaspati. And Brihaspati is the divine teacher and the priest of the devas, of the gods. And Brihaspati is also likened to Jupiter. He's the divine teacher. He's not a warrior, but he's a spiritual leader. He's guiding others through wisdom and through prayer and through counseling as well, sacred counseling. He's like the medicine man or the shaman maybe of a village, but he's very, he can be very strict because he adheres to the natural laws, to the natural Dharma very much. So there is a mythological story that illustrates that a little bit, what he was like. Brihaspati was married to Tara, and Tara was a very beautiful and very intelligent goddess. And Brihaspati, he was a very good man, a very generous and forgiving man, and a very devoted man to the natural laws. And he would be, following the script. He would be meditating and praying and fasting at the right time and doing ritual and doing everything right. And Tara, though, being feminine, she really wanted to experience life. And in order to experience life, Brihaspati couldn't really offer her that depth of experience, that depth of emotion as well. And so one day she fell in love with Chandra, with the moon. And there are also versions of the story where she was abducted by the moon. But either way, she was captivated by him. She was captivated by the moon's charm. And this eventually led to a war, yet another war between the Devas and the Asuras, the gods and the demons. Although Brihaspati wasn't really the one who fought the war or even initiated the war. He did go to Indra for help, and Indra then, he initiated the war. I think that's maybe interesting to note as well. And at the end of the war, eventually, Tara was returned to Brihaspati, but in a pregnant state. She was pregnant with Chandra's child. And that child actually was Mercury or Buddha. And Brihaspati, though, rather than rejecting that child, he accepted him and he raised Buddha as his own. And this act really tells us a lot about Pushya, something very essential, and that's its capacity for unconditional care, for forgiveness, for wisdom, for guardianship. Pushya-born people are the perfect people for mothering and also for adopting children, for fostering children, because they love unconditionally. And actually, I can attest to that because I have both my ascendant and my moon in Pushya, and I have raised not only my two own children, but also stepchildren, and in fact, a foster child in my life. So yeah, and I work with children a lot as well. So this is something that I can attest to for sure. Pushya is very nourishing, and it isn't only about giving nourishment, but also receiving nourishment. And this is an interesting aspect of it as well, because that nourishment, being born into Pushya, I have been nourished. I have been brought up by my great-grandmother and actually grandmothers and the elders. They are aligned with Saturn, and this nakshatra is in fact ruled by Saturn. And so my grandmother, she was a refugee from Romania, and she had lost a child of starvation during the war when she was a refugee. And I think that, she probably tried to compensate by feeding me as much as she could. So she really was a feeder, a loving, a very well-meaning feeder. And that is another sign of Pushya, really, the beginnings of life in Pushya Nakshatra. And yeah, like I said, the symbol for it is the udder of a cow. And this is really a universal image of maternal nourishment. And it reminds us that real support is always sustainable and steady and sourced from love, not from obligation, but from love. And those with Pushya energy, they often really feel called to care for others. Sometimes they might struggle to receive nourishment, but they will learn it in their lifetime because this is their theme. With Pushya, there's always a little bit of a need to balance giving with taking, giving with refueling, because we have to recharge ourselves with nourishment as well. And with Saturn as the planetary ruler, Pushya is generally about protection and steadiness as well. It's reliable, it's consistent, and it is committed to Dharma. And that means it will always protect whatever is sacred. And what is sacred? It is always authenticity. So whenever you are authentic and live out of your integrity, then Pushya will protect you. And Pushya, because of the Saturn influence, is not quick. It is slow. It definitely doesn't rush. It builds things carefully and slowly. And also Pushya carries the guru archetype through Brihaspati. So it is also about teacher energy. People with a strong Pushya placement, they often become guides or teachers or spiritual counselors or healers. And even if they're not in the formal role of one, if it doesn't become their official career, they still might, maybe among their friends, have that status of being a counselor, being a guide, or they might be the type of people where others turn to for advice. And this nakshatra is very much motivated by Dharma, by doing the right thing, doing what feels right deep inside themselves. There's a real deep sense of a moral responsibility of doing what is right, even when it's hard. And that doesn't matter anyway to Pushya very much, because Pushya does not avoid difficulty. It has a lot of endurance and a lot of grace. And Pushya is very purifying. It's a light-bringing nakshatra. It shines, and it shines through integrity. And that integrity is very important. It's always important for every single nakshatra. This is a theme, and this is an important issue, because at the end of the day, authenticity, integrity, it's one of the biggest life goals that we have as human beings. But for Pushya, it's a felt sense. It doesn't, because it is all about nourishment, and we can only feel really nourished when we do things that are in alignment with ourselves, with our personality, with our inner soul, with our purpose, with our belief system. Only then can we feel nourished. And so this is a very important, it's very important for Pushya Nakshatra to feel nourished. And that means it starts with simple things like cooking. It's really important that we cook meals. Now, this seems to be an obvious thing, but unfortunately in our times, it's not obvious anymore. A lot of people don't really cook anymore because, some people think they don't have time for this anymore. And there's so many other ways, or they're after work, they're very tired, and we don't have that traditional setup anymore either, where, the woman is at home cooking and the man earns the money. So, the woman works just as much as the man these days. And so who does the cooking? They're both tired. Then, there's many more days in the life of an average person spent in a restaurant or takeaway or ready-made meals and things like that. But a real Pushya person will probably cook, will be drawn to cooking. And again, I can attest to that. I'm very much into food and cooking, and do not like ready-made meals. And so this is a typical Pushya energy to really cook, and it's a nourishing and it's a positive energy as well, because this is what Pushya people need as well, or what we all need, but especially when the moon is traveling through this nakshatra. What's also a really good practice is to bless our food, or to be conscious and aware when we're preparing the food, what energy goes into the food as I'm chopping it. We can say a prayer, we can chant mantras, we can have beautiful thoughts. This is, I remember in my Ayurveda training in London, when we did the massage part, we had a really lovely teacher for the massage part, and she would always say, she was an Indian young woman, and she would often talk about having kind thoughts while we do the massage. And I thought that was so beautiful and so wonderful, because then the massage becomes something meditative and sacred, and that means it's nourishing for not only the person but also for us, and it's really beautiful. And I could say the same thing about cooking as well. So if we are conscious about what energy goes into the food, then the food becomes magic. It becomes a magic potion that that we take in. I remember when I was younger, friends of mine and myself, we had gathered a lot of basil in someone's garden, and we were chopping it to make pesto with it. And we had music on, and so we had different kinds of music because we all chose different music. And at the end, we had different rhythms to which we were chopping, and we had the reggae pesto, and we had some other pesto, and this was fun, but it also there's a lot of truth in it, because in whatever rhythm we are, that's what we put into the food as well. So whatever energy we are in is what is going to influence the food, is what's going to influence the people we feed as well. So that is something that Pushya people could really work with very well, and they'd have a very well-aligned energy with that kind of practice. And we can also ask ourselves, who or what inside of me is hungry, or what around me maybe is hungry. What is the hunger for? What hunger needs to be stilled? And then we can also ask, what values are guiding my life? What are my belief system? What are my values? And where am I being asked to stand up for something deeper, maybe? Because this is all about aligning with my Dharma. And also we can practice, maybe because this is something not so easy for a lot of us, is to get help, let others hold us, practice asking for help as well. And, ask ourselves, where have I been self-reliant up to a fault? This balance, is met, because Pushya people, they can give and nourish and give a lot, but they do need to get back as well, because otherwise they'll be drained after some time. The Guru principle that is in Pushya Nakshatra as well through Brihaspati maybe can give us a little bit of an inspiration to connect with our teachers. And our teachers can be on the outside. It doesn't even have to be it doesn't have to be an actual teacher. It can be any person can be a teacher. Your best friend can be a teacher to you. Somebody you hardly know can say something that which guides you through your life or which inspires you. A tree can be a teacher. Or also, even in all the yogic scripts, what is the most important guru in your life is your inner guru, your intuition. So connecting with that, connecting with the inner teachers and with the outer teachers as well, is a wonderful practice to honor the guru principle through Pushya Nakshatra. And maybe we can light a candle in gratitude to anyone, to those around us who guide us. Maybe we can offer mantras or songs. We can, do whatever we can to stay connected and to stay in a grateful energy. And also, what is good to do in Pushya Nakshatra is to slow down. Pushya Nakshatra is slow. And so maybe we can choose an area of our life where we want to grow, but with consistency. And then, set small grounded goals and let the Pushya energy work through this, step by step by step. Stability is sacred. So this is another important aspect of Pushya Nakshatra. Pushya is the heart of sacred care. It's the nourishment that holds the world together. And that doesn't need to be seen. It's not, we don't do these things in order to be seen or to be paid for our services. But of course, we do have to get something back. But this is Pushya energy is just, they do these things because they are like that. That's their energy. It's a beautiful energy, beautiful, wonderfully protective energy, coming into a rhythm, a rhythm that is natural to us, that is true to us, is important for Pushya. So we can ask ourselves when the moon is in Pushya, what needs nourishing in me? Or where am I being called to steady someone or something in my life? Or also, how can I root deeper into my values? So this is Pushya Nakshatra, very, very interesting and wonderful nakshatra. And I hope that this was helpful and you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to know more, then you can go to sandrahayes.eu, maybe book a reading if you want to dive a little bit deeper, or continue to listen to the podcast. I will be back soon with the next nakshatra. And bye for now. You were listening to a podcast by the Little School of Happiness. For more information, please go to sandrahayes.eu, or if you are in Germany, sandrahayes.de.